Hello, everyone, and welcome to Youngstown's Talk Channel. We are live today in Youngstown studio. I am an MLO bro. We are short an MLO bro. Luke is out today, so it's me and Joe. We never get this.
You
time,
did that
Joe.
short thing on purpose, didn't you?
What?
You are short, and then you point to me.
Oh my gosh! I would have done it if I should have. I should have, but I didn't this time. But we're live. This show we are trying to do something special. Youngstown Radio is coming to an end, we believe. Soon there will be no more Youngstown Radio. We are trying to fill the void and have our own talk show, eventually get our own radio show, and just give you a place where you can call in. You can call in right now, 330-595-1600, and talk with me and Joe about whatever you want to talk about.
You have anything on your mind for today?
So a couple of things.
Yes.
So we can go local. We can go national. We can go. I loved what you and Kellen were talking about the other day with religion. I was commenting in like crazy. What about you? Anything on your mind today?
No, I give you first strike.
You
I
do?
can see your gears are going.
So
unleash it, baby.
First things first. We shared a post last week about Aspasia's comments about downtown. She is one of the owners of Penguin City, and she worried about the event that happened over the week. It was last weekend, right? Wasn't it?
It was.
And that was
2-day music festival, Friday and Saturday, or Saturday and Sunday.
And what's the name again? I used to go to it when I was in college.
I have no idea.
Oh my gosh, I have to look it up now. But
they basically had pop-up concerts at probably like 5 or 6 locations. They had busing all around town.
Federal Frenzy. That's what it's called.
Federal Frenzy.
So Federal Frenzy Music Festival. They used to have it when I was in college, 2013, 2014, I think was the first year. And it was packed, man. They shut down Federal and they would just have a big stage. And I didn't go. Did you go?
I did not.
I wonder what the turnout was like.
They are not marketing to us anymore. We are in the old person's group now.
Oh, really?
So they didn't.
Is it sub 30? I'm being 31. I turned 31 April 17th. I'm out.
You're out.
I'm out. Damn.
I hope it went well, but maybe we can check in with some of the proprietors down here and
see how it went.
By Thursday, I'll find out.
Aspasia, in her article, she is. It seemed like a cry for help almost, where it's like, listen, we need to do a better job of getting people down here. She said she was critical of social media and saying that, like, hey, people were talking about the parking situation, talking about the road construction, and that didn't help. People coming downtown and supporting them. She was critical of leaders, saying, hey, I want to see you in my store, or I want to see you in Penguin City hanging out with everybody and being a part of downtown. I wonder, and she even mentioned, like I always say, I remember, she said, I think 2019, 2018, being downtown at 4 p.m., enjoying a drink on a patio. Patios were packed. People were everywhere. It's not like that anymore. It's not like that at all.
Mm-mm.
And I loved it. I loved it so much. And it's very sad, but I hope Federal Frenzy was packed, but I doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
I highly doubt it. But call in, everybody. Like we said earlier, 330-595-1600. Call in. Let's talk about local stuff, national stuff, whatever. Joe, what else you got? Anything?
No, I want to add to that.
Yeah.
So, they're absolutely right that they really don't get help from the public and from the government. And they just allow the negativity be the only thing that we talk about.
Yeah.
There's not a push to like make businesses successful and get people as a destination to come downtown. And you can engineer it that way.
Yeah.
But the city government either has to, you have 3 choices: work against it, don't do anything, or help it. Right.
Yeah.
And we're on the work against it phase right now. If we can just get them not to get in the way of what businesses are trying to do downtown. I mean, even if they can't support and help it, at least don't get in the way.
Work against it. What do you like? Do you think the government is making it more difficult to?
Have you ever heard a politician in city government really put a push to invite people downtown? Like really push on it to say, profile the people that are down here, say a nice word, get cooperatives going down with the business.
Yeah.
You just don't hear that.
Yeah. Dan says, good morning, brothers. Love the show. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I don't think it definitely needs to be more of we don't care what part of Youngstown you're from. We don't care the suburbs, wherever. Get down here. We need your support. We have this going on this weekend. We'd love to see everybody out there. You never see anything like that. It's just, something's going on downtown. I feel like the leaders are almost not ashamed, but downtown's great, but I need to worry about the people who live on the outskirts of the town, live in Youngstown proper, but aren't downtown. Everybody's so into downtown. It's not, Youngstown's so much more than just downtown. And it's okay, but but we want downtown to be awesome so that everybody from all over can come and spend their money there, and then it will billow out to the surrounding areas of Youngstown.
Yeah. But everybody has those people in our life. You could say you're doing something in the mid, I'm going to go outside and wash my windows. And it's but something will happen, or you're going to get hurt, or doesn't this thing need done? And then by the time you had energy, you wanted to do the thing, you were whatever. Yeah. All they had to do was say, all right, let's go make that thing work. But they wanted to have you over here in Negativeville.
Yeah. I feel like it was, I don't even know if they've ever been super supportive. It was just, I feel like there was that push to everybody live downtown, everybody going to YSU in that 2012 to 2019-ish range of being downtown was the spot. It was cool. Everybody was trying to get down there. Everybody was trying to spend, patios were packed. It was just fun, and living down here was fun. And now it's just that COVID just totally flipped the switch. And then Boardman started having their nightlife, and the nightlife of downtown kind of just faded.
Yeah. Well, it took everything in us to get people down here in the first place. And the minute you detach that, think about the effort they'd have to draw them back in again. We had momentum. We really did.
We had so much momentum. Mm-hmm. And then COVID's such a smack in the face, man. But, okay, you ready to move on to something else? I got a question for you, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, so as me and Joe are both, I would say, Joe and I are both, whatever, Joe. God, you're rooting this for me, Joe. Joe and I are both very much libertarians. So the government should stay out of, in terms of, I don't know about you, but me, it's individual freedoms are the most important thing to me.
Yep.
I want to be able to do whatever I want. As long as I'm not hurting anybody, that's fine. But it gets a little hairy for me when it comes to the businesses. So my question for you, Joe, as somebody who says, hey, the government should stay out of everything, where should the government get involved?
Where they prove that they are good at something. I would invite something or someone.
Yeah.
If they did a really good job,
right?
They did the good job, and they got the hell out of town.
Okay, so here's the running joke with libertarians: the roads. What do we do? People are we need the government for the roads, and then everybody's you've seen the roads, right? They're especially in Northeastern Ohio, they are a mess. Mm-hmm. Why are we letting the government take control? Do the roads, fix the roads up? You think we should privatize it? Is that what you think?
Frick yeah.
You think we should
at the very least. Okay, so let's just say Isaac set up his own highway, and you created a highway.
Yeah.
It was a private highway.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So the government's we got to make sure that it's safe on your highway.
Yeah.
They assigned an inspector to make sure that you had all safety precautions and mechanisms, right? So they sit on the side of the road and just wait for you to do something unsafe, so they could write you a little notification that you need to improve things and fix things.
Mm-hmm.
So they would be hard on your ass to make sure every improvement was done, and you would have 30 days to get it fixed, or you were in violation and you would be fined all to hell. Now, when you get to a city road, do they treat their roads to the same standards that they would a private side? Hell no, they don't put it on a 30-day clock. They don't make sure, what would happen if you fix the road by just mounding some tar in a hole?
Yeah.
They'd be no, rip that shit up and do it the right way. So government holds itself to a way different standard than they would private. So either do private and hold it to a standard, or hold themselves to what they would hold a private to.
So what about parks? Because without so that's a huge one for me. Without was it Teddy Roosevelt who protected national parks? So without the government protecting the national parks, I feel like the people with all the money, the big businesses, would just consume the parks and put up Walmarts and Dollar Generals. So do you think that's a good thing?
What's wrong with that? There's so much land. Like it's not an either or thing. It's not like we got to go all commercial or we got to go all parks. I feel like if the government wasn't there, it would go all commercial. It would there'd be freaking boardmen everywhere if you didn't do a little bit of protection. Well, and the instituting parks, making memorialize them and make them special. I mean, New York City is a good example of that. Central Park would be the best development area in the planet if you didn't have people saying, "No, we kind of like that being there."
Right,
and it adds to the value,
property value. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure, and it's really nice. I mean, yeah, but that is something like out west too. If you didn't protect that, it could get really hairy, really quick. Sure. And there's no going back.
And there's a good balance. So commercialization versus natural.
Right.
I value both of them.
Right.
So reasonable people have to make those decisions.
Yeah.
And they have to be good at it.
Right. I guess the question would be, as I just said, there's no going back. If we said, okay, all the national parks are gone, people can buy it and do whatever they want with it. Was Central Park in New York City at one time, was it always a park? I totally uneducated on this topic. Was it always a park, or at one point did they decide, hey, we're going to make this a park and we are going to
I believe it was a park because most of that land was not very usable until they started developing New York City out. And they I think that was probably more the most unusable land because of its features. And so it was the last to be consumed by commercialism.
Yeah.
And then it became a park because of that.
So, and then my other thing would be, there are situations where big business, if they could, would monopolize everything and just destroy the everyday consumer to make the most profits possible. So it's like, that is where, because money influences everything, right?
And those are the true functions of what a government can do.
Yes.
Which is keep the balances in.
Right. And I feel like it all goes back to, hey, listen, you have to protect, your job is to protect the individual citizen with their individual freedoms over from the businesses and from the money, I guess, so to speak.
And that's why, when you're a libertarian, you're not an anarchist. You're not saying that we need no rules and no laws and no, government oversight.
Yeah.
We just need it to be in balance so that it's not tyrannical and squishing people and, being oppressive.
Yeah, true. Very true.
What?
I'm just thinking. If
we have a call. Let me throw that
let's hear it. Let's hear it.
All right, caller, you're on.
Good morning. Since you guys are talking about local stuff, I just wanted to pop in about issue 2, which is they want to fund roads and they want to have us in debt for 30 years. And I don't agree with this because these are just favored projects that government decides they want to do. Like maybe they want to add bike lanes somewhere. They're using state funds, or all the things that they did downtown to the roads that everyone's complaining about. Some of that were state grants. So that's what this issue 2 is about. And it's $50 million more than the last time we renewed it. So I hope people get out and vote against it because, again, they're just doing whatever pet projects they want to do that aren't even necessary, that no one agrees with in a lot of cases. It's a lot of money. What is it? It's a couple $1 billion. I don't know what you think about that, but I think they've wasted our money long enough.
Yeah. Well, thank you, caller. We appreciate you. We'll talk about it right now. Thank you so much. Talk soon, 17. Yep. Bye. So, what do you know about issue 2, Joe? Do you know anything?
No, I don't know anything.
Either. But so that's the thing. I don't want to critique it. I don't know enough about issue 2. I'm sorry, 17. But I guess we were talking about the roads, right?
All right. So do you think that the way that they replace roads and do roads, they do well?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Do you think that there are technologies that might cost a little bit more, but maybe make the roads last a little bit longer?
Yeah, of course.
My complaint is like, how many times are they going to resurface 680 every 4 freaking years?
And there's always, and I think the only places I have destroyed my tires and my wheels is on 680.
Yeah.
Like you catch a freaking pothole and yeah, it's just destroys it. That, I guess, so that's another, like there's no innovation. When the government is in control of something, there is no innovation. There is no innovation to the roads. They're still the crappy roads they were in the 70s. It's like no innovation at all when there's no competition.
We're going to complain no matter what.
Right.
We're going to complain about the cost or how long it takes or how often we've got to do it. So if you're going to say, okay, we're going to put the best people in that industry on the job. We want this thing to last at least 10 years. We want it to be super repairable so that it's not a minefield after you even make a repair.
Right.
Put some different materials in there. We know we're going to get snow and snow plows that are going to junk up the road no matter what.
Yeah.
So if you were doing a house and you lived in an area that maybe had hail all the time, and you're like, all right, I got shingles on my roof. Do I want this to be something disposable where I put the least amount of money in it, knowing that it's going to get damaged?
Right.
Or do I know that since hail's coming, I build a material, I pay way more than I should, but I know it survives more than next year.
Right. It's kind of like every time, as a consumer, every time you buy a washing machine or something that's like, you don't need it to be the fanciest thing ever, but you don't need it to be if you go the cheap route, then it dies in a year and you're buying another freaking washing machine. So it's the same type of thing. You want to go above, like middle of the road. I would, with especially, there's a pun there, but middle of the road in terms of like technology and expense.
So here's the way it works. When government builds something for itself, it is indestructible, made of marble, is pretty and ornate, right?
Right.
When they build it for us, they build it out of freaking cheese.
Right. True.
So,
true.
Balance.
For sure. And man, if you made it competitive and you had companies compete over, making it cheap, but also out of the best materials, and then you just would you let the government bid it out, or how would you?
No, they just don't have the ability. Think about how many paving companies have a sweet deal with the state.
Yeah,
and
true.
To build it so that
it's like 50% more money too.
Exactly.
Yeah, because
so
the people
really
are paying
think
for
they're
it.
giving us a great deal that they don't intend for it to fall apart freaking next year?
Right.
It's
true.
in their interest not to.
Jerry said, back to the Youngstown topic. I've heard for years about great marketing people employed by Youngstown, but since Claire Maluso, it doesn't seem the position is being done, doing what needs to be done to advertise. So Jerry, I have heard from marketing people that have worked in Youngstown that have now left and gone to other cities that were great employees. The problem is these marketing people and these creative people are trying to do different things, and in the most classic Youngstown way ever, they get, no, we've never done it that way. We've always done it this way. And that's what we're going to keep doing because, we don't step out of line. You don't, you're just a marketing person. You don't know what you're talking about. It's like, well, I did A, B, C, and D in other towns and they're successful. Why don't we try some of those things? No, we've never done it like that. So we're not doing it. That is destroying Youngstown. That mindset of no, we've never done it that way and we're not going to is just an awful way of thinking, and it doesn't help anything.
All right, so I consider what you and I do, we're kind of on the innovation side of marketing.
Right.
We know that when we do something in marketing, there's an action that we have tied to it, so we know if what we did is successful.
Yeah.
Your phone rings, you get a sale, that means your marketing was good.
100%.
So if you had a marketing person in Senate government and they spend a bunch of money, what's the metric to say whether or not it was successful? What's the action
That's true.
to be able to tell what it's for? They would probably come in here and say, Isaac, you do things non-traditional.
Yeah.
And I need to teach you how to do it so that we spend our money like everybody else spends their money. And you'd be like, F that.
Yeah.
Then nothing that happens will happen anymore.
Yeah. I don't fit well into that mold because it's too much control.
Well, that's what Youngstown needs, is an innovative marketer, just like anything else.
Right. And shoot, what was I going to say?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, in that mindset, they have this mindset where like they're just scared. Like they're like, hey, it's not going to work. Disastrous things have happened when when people have done it this way. But my argument is, no, if you want to stand out and you want to attract people, you have to do it differently. You have to do it differently.
If that's your mission.
Yeah. Because I mean, in mortgage and in real estate, everyone critiques me and Luke. You guys have a podcast and you talk about all this controversial stuff, and you do like, that is not, you talk about politics, you talk about religion. That is not what succeeds in our line of work. Like, presidents of real estate companies have called us when we left our old brokerage. You'll never, like, to my face, you will never be successful if you talk about the things you're talking about. And I was like, sir, you've only heard the negative, the critiques of us, but you've never heard all the good stuff that we do and how we help the community and how we give all this back. But, you know, no, you can't do that because you're talking about politics. You're talking about religion.
If you're let's just say you're contracted by a government and their mission isn't to like take risks and make change happen. Right. You're play safe and get reelected. Right. What do you think they're going to do?
So that's why I don't work in government right there. Because but you have to stand out. You have to.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I think there was a lot of people, Phil Kidd, Derek McDowell, myself, there were a ton of people that were willing to help market Youngstown. Yeah. All that they had to do was get out of the way and make it easy to help Youngstown. Don't embarrass us. Yeah. Don't, you know, fight with us and whatever. And they just can't do it.
It should be, I guess, the most successful real estate companies, right? I guess I can just only compare it to that. And the brokerage I'm at now, basically, I would say you lay the guidelines and you say, listen, here's what's illegal. Here's what's not legal. Go. Yep. Here's what you can't do. Here is what you are not allowed to do. Everything else, go crazy. As long as you stay within these guidelines, you're good to go. And thank God I have that company behind me. You know what I mean? Because they just let us have whatever creative freedom we want. So I think that is important. And I think that throughout history, the most creative minds, the most successful people were always told, like, we're always different. They were always very different. And then they stand out. And at first it's like, whoa, nobody's ever done that before. This is crazy. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And now you look back and it's like, those people did amazing things and everybody told them they were stupid. So at some point, Youngstown, like, when do you realize you're hurting yourself? They're not helping so much that it's like, we're going down this road. And if you don't make a change, like, being creative and stepping out and doing something different isn't going to hurt. It can't get any freaking worse. So just try and change it up a little bit.
Yeah. You have a restaurant downtown that has said numerous times that everybody said there are easier places to do a restaurant. Don't do it downtown Youngstown. It's going to be hard. It's going to be expensive. You're going to lose money. That person who makes that sacrifice to bring their business to the city should be hoisted on the shoulders of everybody, and he should be helped every day of his existence down there. Yeah. Because you're not, if you lose that, you're never going to get somebody else to come in and fill that void. So they should be valued as a contributor to the downtown.
Right. Tracy says the city contacted the CS Communications, a political campaign consultant, last year in June for $60,000 of advertising and marketing strategies. So they spent the $60,000 on advertising and marketing strategies. It's like, oh my God. Like, at the same time, like, you don't have to spend that amount of money. You really don't. You just have to take a leap of faith. And it's like, me and Luke didn't spend any money. We just, you know what I mean? Like, we don't spend all kinds
lazy
of marketing
is what that is. That's like pushing ads out and
just nobody pumping money into it.
Uses into the ether.
Yeah, Luke says we will do it for $30,000. Like, you don't have to spend that much money. Like, that's dumb. Yeah. That's dumb. You're just not being creative. You're like, oh, let's do it the right way and pay this marketing company $60,000. Like, you know who hates us? You know who hates me and Luke? Marketing companies.
Yes, right.
Because they're like, how are these idiots? How are these idiots getting so much attention and we're not? Like, these guys do everything the wrong way. But they get all this attention. They get all these people in their groups. It's because we did it creative. We did it non-traditionally. And people, they have to pay attention.
100%.
They're forced to. So sorry,
they should be modeling after you instead of dragging you through the dirt.
Right. But they don't even want to talk to us, man. They're just we're freaking
stuff.
We're hot, like a heat, like you can't touch the stove. Yes. We're considered the danger. Yes, fire. Can we miss any comments other than those dumb comments?
All right, next topic.
What was it? What were we gonna say, Joe?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Pope, Joe?
The Pope?
Yeah. Do you hate the Pope?
Do I hate him?
Do you hate the Pope?
I don't think I hate the Pope.
Yeah. You were talking. So I'm shifting. I'm shifting to the other thing we're not allowed to talk about: religion. You and Kellen were in here the other day talking about religion, and I loved it. I was commenting. So, Joe, at what point, when you go to church on Sunday with your lovely family, what church, if you don't mind me asking, what church do you go to?
Bridge of Hope.
Bridge of Hope. What is that? What is Bridge of Hope? Like what denomination?
I don't even know. It's the ones that yell and scream a whole lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I forget what it's called.
Presbyterian?
No, not Presbyterian. No. It's on that in that.
Okay. Yeah. So you were talking with Kellen about religion the other day, and you got into basically like the science of it, right? And you were like asking the questions, like what is the like? What were you, refresh my memory of how you feel about refresh the people's memory how you feel about it.
I like
Pentecostal.
I don't like
Pentecostal.
Dogma. What?
Pentecostal?
Pentecostal?
Is that what your church is?
I don't know.
Okay. You don't like what? Go, Joe. You were arguing with your pastor. I need to hear this.
Yeah. So I don't like dogma, right? I don't like it in science. I don't like it in religion. I don't like it anywhere. I like to be able to question anything, anytime, push against it. Things that have validity survive scrutiny. And I believe that everywhere. And so do I think sort of like having a relationship with things that you can't see and don't understand and what governs the universe and whatever, I think that's a complete healthy thing. I think people from dawn of time looked up at the stars and said, yeah, we didn't make that. Something did. And we don't understand it. And I wonder what it is.
Yeah. It's just people's religion from an evolutionary standpoint is people's questioning and trying to come up with an answer.
Exactly.
Because to this day, we don't know.
Yeah.
You're just like, holy crap, that's a lot. How are we supposed to understand it?
We file it away. We get smarter about it, but we try to take things that are non-understandable and kind of make some sense of it for ourselves.
So my question to you would be, from a scientific standpoint, why would, if everything that we do as humans has like come from an evolutionary standpoint of like, hey, we made fire and then we made tools and then it just evolved from there, and our way of thinking, our fears, our what we do, if it doesn't work, we go away from it, we evolve away from it. And it seems like from an evolutionary standpoint, if it wasn't efficient, why do we still have religion to this day? If it's been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
Are you talking about religion as a construct or like traditional religion?
A little both.
Okay. So as a construct, no matter what, we invent religion over and over again. You can say like, everything from environmentalism to whatever.
Yeah, Egyptians to now.
Right. Yeah. We were fascinated by the mysterious, the things that we can't sense and still, grapple with.
We've gone from more of a it was more of a societal religion, like back in the day. Like the Greeks were like, oh, we're praying to the god of whatever for rain for our crops. And it was like an everyday thing. And now we've shifted more to a cultish type religion where everyday society, like separation of church and state, like you go to your church on Sunday, not like a cult, like in the aspect of like weird cult, sex cult, but like it is more of a cultish religion. Google that if you don't know. I promise I'm not insulting Christianity, but it is more of a cultish type religion.
Yeah, but we also compartmentalize where we'll take maybe there was 1,000 religions that birthed out of 1,000 different people's interpretation of their understanding of it.
Right.
And then we saw some common themes. And so we put it in a box and said, we're going to translate this down to a word, a guy, an idea.
Right.
And so like should we kill people? Yes, no. Okay, well, that should be in every religion, is not killing other people. Should we steal from people? Yes, no. That one. And through that pursuit of morality, we put together a code and we called it stuff. We made stories about it.
Well, the fun one is it's in the Bible. Like people are like, oh, one of the 10 Commandments, do not kill. Well, I don't think it's do not kill. It's do not murder.
Yes.
But that was lost in translation, right? So it was do not murder. Like don't murder your neighbor.
We know that, but when it's
so my question is, what else has been lost in translation?
Lots.
Yeah. How much of that God's book was lost in translation?
Oh, there's a bunch of human beings that put a little parcel in there for themselves. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, for sure, because we're only human. Christine says non-denominational. Heard it's a great church. But that's the church you go to.
Yeah.
Cool. But I said The Chosen on Amazon. I told you guys to watch that. The best part about it is they do a very, very good job, which is why I think it relates to everyone more. They do a very, very good job of Jesus trying to pull off these things and do these things and go talk to this town and preach in this town. And all of his disciples are challenging him the entire time and asking him questions. And when you read the Bible and when you go to church, I feel like it's very much don't ask questions. This is why we do what we do over and over and over and over. But all his disciples the entire time are questioning him.
So why today do we make it unchallengeable?
Right.
And almost like I'm not being blasphemous by asking a question that doesn't make sense to me, right?
Yeah. So just throughout the story, all of his disciples are different types of people, and they're all butting heads, and they're all, hey, why are we going to that town? Those people hate us. And Jesus like, I don't care if they hate me. I got to go try and convert these people. And then he's going to different towns, and they're spitting on him, right? And they're spitting on him, throwing rocks at him. And a great example is he's outside the town, and spitting on these people are walking by him, spitting on Jesus, throwing rocks at him, and all of his boys are behind him, and they're like ready to kick some ass, right? They're like, you're stepping to the Son of God, and we're gonna kill you. So, and Jesus is like holding them back, and then those people walk away after they spit on him, and he's like, hey, you guys just wanted to go in there and kill all those people, right? And they're like, yeah, you're the Son of God. You should have rained down hellfire, and you should have brought thunder and lightning. Like you could kill all these people. And he's like, okay. And this flows from, you guys were talking about the Old Testament compared to the New Testament, and that's the old way, right?
Right.
God's going to destroy you. And Jesus is like, and Jesus holds him back, and he's like, he's getting pissed at him. He's like, I am like changing everything, right? You call me the Son of Man, Son of God, but you want me to win all these people over and convince them, but you want me to kill all of them. You want me to thunder and lightning and lava and kill all of them where they stand. How effective is that going to be in terms of making them listen to me? All those people are going to die, and then their families aren't going to have people, and they're going to hear about how I killed all these people. That's how I'm going to win this town over that hates me. So it's like, okay,
checkmate.
That's a good, and they're like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry. Like, what were we thinking? But the show does a very good job of making Jesus relatable. And then the whole time I'm chat GPTing, like asking questions about what Jesus thought about this, what he thought about this. So I think if you make him more of a man, as sacrilege as that is, and look at it like more of a self-help book, and it's like, hey, I want to be more about this guy, like more like this guy, I don't think you're going to go wrong. From an atheist perspective, Jesus wasn't a bad person.
No. And I honestly think, thank you, sir.
What's up, Isaac? I'm sorry I missed you the other day.
Yeah, man, your brother said you was out somewhere.
I was. He's gone now.
Doing something you ain't no business doing. That.
That's always. That's all I do. Good one, Isaac.
Yeah, just think if you could secure an interview with Jesus and just talk to him and say, listen, give it to me straight here. Right. How much of the shit did we get right and wrong? You could set a lot of people's hearts straight.
Have you guys watched Ohio Confidential on HBO Max yet? Very good documentary. No, you told us about that. We have not watched it yet. I've been watching The Last of Us on HBO, honestly. Kellen says, I like when pastors say it's okay to question. It's normal to have doubts, and we can talk about those things. Yeah, like it's so good. The other thing, too, is like you guys are talking about Old Testament, and how scary some of it is, and like the battles that were fought and the murdering and the killing and all this stuff. And he challenged all. That's what the New Testament is, challenging all of that. And all of his disciples are constantly asking questions, and it's like, wow, I've never had this perspective before, and I love it. So definitely recommend giving it. And all of like good TV too.
And all of those disciples, spoiler alert, but they were all decimated. They were all killed brutally and for being friends with him. And
but it only proved the point more.
Right.
You know, like the entire time they're in this show, the kids are asking, the people are asking, like, no, if you're some savior, like the Old Testament was like House of David. Somebody else mentioned that, like David was a warrior, and they're saying, no, this savior that's supposed to come is going to be a warrior, and he's gonna get the Jews away from the Romans and save all of us. And Jesus is like, who said the new savior is supposed to be a warrior? And they're like, well, if he's not a warrior, how's he supposed to save us from the Romans? He literally just converted all the Romans. Jesus died on the cross. All his disciples died on the cross, and all the Romans became Christians and Catholics and formed Christian. He converted all of them. And so he wasn't a warrior, but he did win by converting all those people.
Yep.
So it's something, man. It's definitely something.
But I like what religion and the Bible does to me with conflict. It says stuff to me that makes me disagree, and through that pursuit of disagreement, like I come to a lot of wisdom in that stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not like, my wife is much more spiritual than I am, and I insurance policy in terms of being a good person, because
she'll vouch for you.
Don't get to the pearly gates. You're like, listen, I promise he's a good dude. I promise he's a good dude. Just please listen to me.
You gotta treat her well forever now.
Insurance policy. So, but I'm not the dude that goes to church every Sunday, but going with her and trying, you know, it's something. And then like just trying to relate to, I think breaking him down as a person more so than the Son of God is super good. And then from there, if you want to believe, it comes down to faith, right? At the end of the day, it's called faith for a reason. You have to just believe. Like there's going to be questions, and you're just like, okay, do I believe or do I not believe? And that's the most important question. I guess the pastors would say, if you want to get in, you got to say, I believe wholeheartedly. But then like, who's to say, like you get to the pearly gates and you're like, well, shit, I didn't believe. And you know, I tried to be a good person, and is Jesus going to say, sorry, dude?
Didn't say the words.
You're done. You didn't say the words.
The floor dropped out. You're done.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, this person was a really good person. They did A, B, C, and D, and all these great things compared to the person who just sat in the booth and said, yeah, I believe, but I'm kind of a terrible person.
They're going to look at that sheet and say, he didn't say it, dude. I'm sorry. You scored 99.
You didn't believe. People don't volunteer to suffer, die for a lie, right? Well, that and just the power of like I said before, believe or don't believe, but dying for something, and while you're dying, and somebody's killing you for you did nothing wrong, and somebody's killing you, and you're just bleeding out, torturing you, all these awful, awful things, and as the leader who's doing all these awful things to me, I'm standing in front of you, or I'm up on a cross in front of you, and I'm saying, listen, Joe, you did what you had to do. I love you, and I forgive you. And then you got to go the rest of your damn life thinking, I just killed the dude because the people told me to, and he told me he loves me and he forgives me.
Life changing right there.
Like that would haunt me forever. That would haunt me. That would haunt you forever. Totally religion, like not totally disconnected. If somebody did that to you, that is powerful, man.
Let's pretend that's just a story. Right. And you're telling somebody right now to take all of your instinct and your wrath and your hatred to a person that is killing you, right? And you're being forgiven. Right. It puts your brain in checkmate to say, oh, maybe I should live a little different like that, because I know what I would do if I were in that cross. I'd be like, you mother.
Yeah. And it's just a lesson. It turns into a lesson of forgiveness, right? You have to forgive. It is, like I mentioned in the comment section when you guys were talking about it, it's just thousands and thousands of years of therapy.
Yeah.
You have to forgive yourself and move on. You have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive others, or else you're just going to be a ball of anxiety and a mess. So the world is a better place without the chaos of no religion, obviously, or else it wouldn't be a thing.
The atheists and the agnostics feel like human beings will come to a moral conclusion. Like they inherited a civilization, many civilizations that already has morality interwoven in it. Okay. But let's just remove all of that. Does a regular person with all of the instincts of a human being come to moral, conclusions when it doesn't benefit them? Like when they're on the cross, do they come to the moral conclusion when they're really pushed on it? Or do we need a religion that at least forces a ton of people to do the right thing, even when they have to martyr themselves to have it done?
Right. I don't think we're ready for that yet, honestly. I don't, because as the societies, the farther they stray away, I think it goes downhill real quick.
Heck yeah. And then we will invent religion. We'll come up with Christianity.
In order to, in history throughout time has rebounded.
Yeah.
And then it's created, and then it's like, okay, you go and everybody's super, super religious. And then people start to say, well, and then just roller coaster over and over and over throughout history. In the left, right? So I feel like the left or right, I guess it really doesn't matter, but there are folks that get far away from it, right? And then they're like, hey, they have their beliefs in politics, and it's like politics is almost becoming a religion, a cultic religion, where it's 100%. Like you're either in the group or else you're a piece of garbage. Yep. So they don't have a code to live by, though. So they don't have anybody, and then that's what it's like. Napoleon said, you have to let religion and the church exist, because without religion and the church, the poor will consume the rich. And how many people do you hear nowadays saying, especially from the far left, saying, all we got to do is murder 7 billionaires, the 7 wealthiest people. All we got to do is murder all of them, and then we just give the money to the poor people, and the world's great. So that is exactly what Napoleon said and was worried about. And it's like, you can't do that. Like, it's not okay.
What, getting a license to go murder people that you disagree with? Yeah. How could that go wrong?
Right. But like, I don't know. It's interesting. Why Judas killed himself? Yeah, exactly. That, and then what's the other beautiful, like, the stories are good. You got to admit the stories are good. Yeah. Like from I've heard guys, I forget his name, in podcasts talking about the Last Supper, like from a purely non-religious perspective. As an atheist, he's like, as an atheist, I read the Bible. He's totally an atheist. And he's like, how cool is it that a guy's going into a town, he knows he's going to die. He gets all of his friends, and he says, listen, guys, the party must go on without me. But like, he says the body of Christ, the blood of Christ, whatever. But like, just from an atheist perspective, anytime you sit down and you eat, Joe, anytime you sit down and you drink wine and you guys have events, I'm there with you. I'm going to be there with you from now on. Like, I know I'm going to die. I love all of you, and I'm going to be with you forever, because you guys have been so good to me. Like, just as a bro, that's awesome. I think that's a beautiful thing. Like, I'm going to be with you in my body and my blood. I'm going to be there with you forever. Like, I think that's really cool. That's a beautiful thing, man.
Man, you know you're going to die.
He knows. And he's telling all of his things. And he's telling all of his buddies, like, listen, man, I'm going to die. I know I'm going to die. And I'm always going to be there with you because you guys are my boys. That's a beautiful thing.
Messaging.
Yeah. It's a cool story.
So do you think we're going to have a pope this week, or do you think it's going to be drawn out and take a long time?
I think they've done it. It's been pretty quick throughout history with picking a new pope, right? No, it takes forever. Don't they sit in there for like days and days and days and days and days?
Yeah, they sort of, it's almost like the NFL draft, right? They give them a whole lot of time, and if they can't come to agreement, then it's a shorter time, and they keep shaking it up until they can get more agreement.
Right.
I'd love to hear like what's being talked about when you're trying to elect a freaking pope.
Right. Like in that room.
Yeah.
Right. You can be in that room then until the smoke comes out of the steeple thing and they're like arguing.
Yeah. Yeah. In the beginning, they're probably very traditional and using big words and citing passages. And by the end, they're like, Francis, you better vote this way.
Yeah, right.
Trading the
Scream. I wonder if because they're all trying to be the most like Jesus, right?
Yeah.
So they're all very, I'm sure, very passive and like, hey, let's not fight. Let's be forgiving of one another. But then to see it just devolve into men arguing about something.
Floating like your dirty laundry. Like, I saw Peter. He was over there.
Right. Do you think we get the Black Pope or the Asian Pope?
That would be interesting.
You think so?
That would be interesting.
I think it would. Yeah, it would be different. I think it'd be awesome. So are these choices are they from all over the world?
Yeah, all kind of country. If you're,
I just don't know anything about the
level of Catholic hierarchy that are in the selection process.
Yeah,
and then they're nominated and then they're voted on, just like anything else.
Yeah, love it. It'll be cool. It'll be cool to see. I think
It would be cool if they started sourcing outside of the Catholic Church and maybe just a regular dude becomes the Pope. Like you get a letter in the mail that said, "You've been selected. Would you like to become Pope?"
That would be awful. No, like a lottery system. I'm a Pope now, baby.
Here's your spiritual credit score, and you scored very high on being a good dude, and we're going to make you Pope. That's a bad idea.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I loved how they were talking about the old Pope when he died and all the nice things he's done and how like those. I feel like those are genuinely good dudes, but I don't know. I've never been super Catholic. Is your family like Catholic? Like
lot of my family's Catholic.
What happened with you, Joe? Why'd you wander?
I don't know. I'm on my own pursuit, finding where my answers wherever they may lie.
Kellen says, "You're my boy, Blue." Jerry says, not to mix religion and politics, but the original King James version of the Bible in 1611 had 80 books in it. Then in 1769, took out 14 of the books, feeling that they were untrue or apocritic. I don't even know that word. Joe, help me.
I don't know. I don't know that word either.
Apocryphal. Or deemed as untrue and didn't happen. Just a bit of info. Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah. People have obviously changed it over time and the amount of times it's been translated. Like you're not allowed to talk about that, but I'm sure some of it's kind of changed and humans have put their grubby little hands into it. Any man can be Pope if they are selected.
See,
I'm not a
letter
Catholic,
in the mail. I might be drafted free agent,
but thought Pope Francis was an honorable man. Give me Jesus Christ Superstar. What's the buzz? What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. You know, Jesus Christ Superstar. Joseph, I got you. I got you, Joe. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. They're talking about Jesus. There's like what
they're singing. Come on.
Yeah.
Like the Joker shouldn't sing in that movie, and Jesus shouldn't sing in that movie.
Did you know that Jesus Christ Superstar was originally anti-Christianity?
Was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jesus, like the song is Jesus Christ Superstar. Who have you sacrificed? Like it was very much sacrilege. But then they changed it over because it's not going to become very popular if you're super.
Those rebellious 70s kids.
Correct. But Jesus Christ Superstar rules, though, Joe. Rules.
How'd we get on religion? We went right from Youngstown politics to.
I know, but I loved you guys talking about it the other day, and I wanted to get Kellen's perspective, but Joe wouldn't let Kellen come in because he's her boss.
It is what it is. So what else is on your grill?
I don't know, man. Just. I don't know. No Luke in here. What do we want to talk?
It changes the atmosphere.
Okay. Since Luke's not here, let's talk about Luke.
Okay.
And I heard you and Kellen the other day talking about how me and Luke, with our big feet, are ruining wires and stuff. And I would just like to make the argument that I think your little tiny hands and little tiny feet are able to get into areas and cracks and stuff that our big feet can't get into. And you're probably ruining stuff. And Kellen, I'm sure Kellen has tiny hands, and I'm sure you guys are ruining everything. I'm gonna tell you, it has nothing to do with us.
For me to charge you with that was very unfair. It ended up not being it.
Oh, who was it?
It was not you.
Who was it? I want to know. I want to know who it was, Joe.
There was a device failure that had nothing to do with either.
Huh.
Yeah, and so it was very unfair that I came at you.
It's okay, Joe. I forgive you.
Listen, I have to apologize.
Joe.
You can't forgive me until I apologize.
Forgive you. You don't have to apologize, Joe. I forgive you. Right. That's how big of a person I am. That's how big of a person I am, Joe. I forgive you.
Okay. All right. Wasn't you in my little tiny hands.
With I forgive you and your tiny hands and your tiny feet and your just overall tiny figure.
I love you.
I'm just kidding. Kellen says, I have other work to do while I listen. Unbelievable. Lynn says, was he going to apologize if you didn't bring it up? Yeah, Joe. Were you going to apologize if I didn't bring it up?
I wasn't thinking about it now. I probably wouldn't have even mentioned it. But you set the stage for me to come clean.
Good thing I remembered that he called me out. I brought it up here. But how are we doing in the studio? Because we've only been here for a couple months.
Yes.
And since Luke's not here to bash you, if you say we do anything wrong, are we doing all right?
You're doing great.
Really?
Yeah. I watch you guys here. You come to life when you guys are exchanging, and okay. I love that magic because I used to see that magic early on in your podcast when you guys were going at it, and I think we brought it back onto the airwaves here. And
I will say, I love having you as like a middleman, because there are times where Luke and I, we get a little lost. We get a little lost in the weeds and we just go off on a tangent about whatever. And you kind of bring us back. And then the other thing too is you being here to answer the questions that we can't, when at the end of the day, we are idiots, and I'm the first one to admit it. But like, if we have a difficult question or we're talking about politics, you're more informed than we are. It just is what it is. So then we can be like, hey, Joe, what do you feel about this? And then you kind of explain it in a more sophisticated, well-informed manner. And then from there, me and Luke tussle with it again.
See, I always feel like I disturb your flow when I chime in with my
not at all. Me and Luke constantly talk about it. It's like, Joe, the three of us work really well together. And we constantly talk about how good it is. Okay. So when we leave, does BJ come out? He's like, those guys, I can't stand those guys.
No, we critique everyone. So once you leave, we have like a 15-minute, I wish they were different in this way.
like 2 or 3 podcasts ago when we were talking about that one topic that we're not going to bring up again.
Yeah, but
like, you guys
I never bring it up.
BJ comes out. He's like, what are you doing, Joe? Why did you bring these idiots in here?
But the answer is they're never going to do anything different. So we don't even mention it because I don't want to add any negativity to what you're doing.
Right. Interesting. It is a lot of fun. I like not doing the technical side of it, because that was always, it was never good enough for me. And I was like, Luke, we need to do this. We need to do this. It's like, we don't even know how to begin with audio issues, with the camera issues, and not having to worry about that is like, so
come in, get on stage, do your thing, and that's it.
So much better. Because I mean, half of the beginning of the show is our sound working, so, but thank you everybody for being here. If you want to comment, if you want to call in and talk to us, 330-595-1600. We will field your questions. We will we can talk about whatever. Joe, did you hear about the getting called out in the groups for our money? I just wanted to make it clear again for the
I saw
the advertising.
Like that, yeah.
So Trump's EO about school discipline. What's that?
Executive order. He signed a ton of them yesterday. I didn't really get to look at them. Let me see which
about
one he just
school
signed.
Discipline. Kellen, what did Trump say about school discipline? We're Googling it. That's why we're looking at the screen right now. Okay. President Trump is shining a spotlight. This is from The Hill. President Trump is shining a spotlight on the issue of school discipline, which is closely related to the growing problems of learning loss and falling test scores. Though it's unclear how much can be done about classroom behavior from the federal level, as part of a recent list of moves on education, Trump signed an executive order to create new federal school discipline guidance from K through 12 institutions, with those in school leadership positions saying the problem has grown steadily worse since the 2020 pandemic. While parents and educators agree something needs to be done, satisfying solutions for all their parties are hard to find. This is long overdue, said Nirija, oh my goodness, last name I can't pronounce, policy analyst and engagement coordinator of Independent Woman. I see this as a really good sign that they're really bluntly saying that discipline needs to come back to American schools because it's good for students, for teachers. It's honestly best for the most disadvantaged students, she added. Can we go back to that real quick? Is anybody else surprised that, go back up. That they were able to find someone from a policy analyst and engagement coordinator at the Independent Woman to agree with something that Trump said?
Oh my goodness.
Is anybody else surprised about that? Because I am. That must have been the only person there that agreed with something Trump did. Because it's good for students, for teachers. It's honestly the best for the most disadvantaged students. Okay, what's the discipline? The executive order for Trump, who has long talked about the need to get tough in the U.S. schools, requires Education Secretary Linda McMahon and the Attorney General to team up with create guidance regarding school discipline, along with coordinating with state officials on the prevention of racial discrimination in the application of school discipline. Since the pandemic and its related school closures, surveys year after year have shown concerns about student behavior in the classroom. Okay, what are they going to do? Earlier in the year, 48% of educators and school leaders said students' behavior was a lot worse now than before the pandemic, according to blame policies, Trump and Obama. The increased behavior issues, saying the problem started with Obama in 2014 when a Dear Colleague letter was sent to warning schools they could be in violation of Title IX if more official punishments are handed out to the students, in particular. So it's regarding race and ethnicity and discrimination between kids.
Well, that's the pushback on it, is that if minority kids get more disciplinary actions than white kids do, they want to make, if they get, they're going to take a racial angle on it rather than it's just discipline across the board.
So it shouldn't be, it won't matter. It shouldn't matter, right? If a kid's being bad, you discipline them. I don't care what color they are. I don't care whatever they are. Like, why? Why should it not be discipline the kid? But then it's just like, it's pretty clear cut.
All right. So schools used to be, think military school.
Yeah.
Like you didn't talk, you didn't misbehave. You got wrapped on the knuckles.
Did you get paddled, Joe?
I never got paddled, but there was a couple threatening days.
Yeah.
It could have happened. But so today, like there aren't really any kind of disciplinary anything, right? Kids aren't afraid of authority.
Right.
They misbehave, and it's a free for all.
Right.
So education can't happen that way. So I mean, I think that maybe we go back to the more, corporal punishment type of system where you fall in line, you do what you're told, or you're gone and you're out of here.
So, to an extent, some of the kids in certain school districts, and it doesn't have anything to do with race, it has more to do with economics, right? And where they're at in a poor neighborhood. I feel like those kids should be in school, and being in school is better than them being at home in some scenarios. So how do you combat that? Because it's like that kid comes to school and has a little bit of a schedule, has a little bit of like, this is good and this is bad, and has that discipline. If you completely kick them out, what do they have? They go to the streets and do awful things. Like,
just like the innovations in our road conversation, then you say that there are different strata of people and their willingness to be educated or the capacity to be educated. And those people that don't have the capacities, you don't put them in with people who would be otherwise learning and do have the capacities. You put them in a different special space. Maybe they work more. Maybe they learn a trade more.
Right.
Maybe they're in with other derelicts and they, smash rocks with hammers. I don't know.
Right.
But there's got to be some innovations. It's a real world thing. So find a place for it.
And it's sad because at some point it's like it's almost not their fault. Like if they're a little kid and you want to kick them out and they have a terrible home life, that's not their fault that they've never had discipline and now they come to school and they're getting discipline and they don't know what to do with it. And then
but they should not be intermingled with people that need to get an education. We're spending money for it. The job of the school is to become educated, not managing people who have yet to be managed by their family or their neighborhoods or whatever.
Yeah, because I don't know about you, it was the punishment for me was having to deal with my father. So, did you walk the line because you knew that there was discipline at home? Yeah, because I mean, I'm an ass. So I'm a smart ass.
Right.
So it's like I would go to school, I'd get into trouble, and then it became negotiation of just don't call my dad. I will go to detention. I will sit in detention.
Exactly. You self-discipline.
Right. I will, and it's not like my dad wasn't bad. Like it's just you're going to be grounded. You're not, because I had discipline at home, and I knew that if I could just negotiate my way with the teachers in the school itself, rather than having to go home and be punished, that's what I did. So it's like home life is super, super, super important.
I would have kicked myself out of school if given the chance, because I got nothing out of it. It was the biggest waste of time for the teachers that had to tolerate me. I didn't learn the way that the traditional education. So if you suggested that a super expensive method of education, stick me in there, make the state pay $13,000 a year for me.
Why do you think the school failed you, Joe?
Because they didn't identify that I don't learn the same way that other people do.
I
learn by doing things. So you put a circuit board in front of me and I'll learn all about it. You give me a book with words that describe a circuit board and I get shit from it.
Do you feel like you have a high IQ?
I would say pretty high.
So I think Neil deGrasse Tyson, he said that at some point, if you're really smart, at what point do you have a higher IQ than the teacher? And then you're analyzing the situation in a different way.
Exactly.
And asking the questions that the teacher doesn't have the answer to, and they just get frustrated and screw this kid.
That's where my behaviors were. Is that it didn't make sense, and when I questioned it, I was being stupid. So take me out of that equation.
So at some point, once you get to a certain high IQ level, it's like those kids do bad.
Take me out of that traditional and put me somewhere where I can be useful.
Julie says today's parents will never allow corporal punishment. Well, corporal punishment was what? Spanking and stuff? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so either.
Controlling.
Never.
I think you identify what the skill set of the person is and put something in front of them that they can be productive. And I don't care what that is. It could be work, it could be education.
Yeah.
Something.
And as school leaders, every kid should be different. Their punishment can be a creative way to change their behavior. Yeah. With me, if I was able to negotiate with that teacher and that teacher was like, listen, you do A, B, C, and D, and we won't give you a Saturday detention and you won't have to go home with that slip. And I'll have to tell your dad. And me then being able to work my way out of it and do the things that they told me to do, I respected that teacher more because I just wanted to be looked at an equal and not be looked down on and no, you're just a punk kid. You don't know what you're talking about. So I gained respect.
And honestly, if you were in my class, I would make every assignment would be you negotiating the assignment, and I would develop that skill set in you.
Right.
Janelle's, is this the projector?
It is. Yeah. There's should be some cables on the front of it so she can use it. HDMI and power. Cool.
So perfect example of this. My freshman year, we went to Chicago for a band trip, and we stayed at a hotel. And me and the guys, we got into we were wrestling in the rooms, boys, high school boys, just being idiots. And we were jumping from bed to bed, and jumping. One person would be on one bed, one person would be on the other, and we jump into each other and hit each other and then fall backwards. So we're doing that over and over like a bunch of idiots on the mattresses. And then what?
Coach, I was waving at a passerby.
Sorry. So bumping into each other, and then we jumped into each other. The kid hit me, and I fell back against the wall, and my butt went into the picture frame, destroyed the picture frame, and it fell. And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm getting in so much trouble. My dad's gonna kill me." So I take the picture frame. I go to the teacher. I'm like, listen, I broke this picture frame in the room. And he's like, well, you're going to have to pay for it. And I was like, okay, I'll pay for it. And he's like, with what money? He's like, I'm going to have to call your dad. I'm like, don't call my dad. I was like, I was like, how much does it cost? He's like, $50. And I was like, okay. And I pull out my money, like for food that my dad gave me. And I'm like, here's the $50. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah. He's like, what are you going to eat with? And they're like, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Like, just don't call my dad. And he's like, you're just gonna. I was like, yeah, I'll negotiate for a pizza. And he's like, for a slice of pizza from one of my buddies. He's like, you can't do that. I'm like, don't call my dad. Just let me.
Perfect.
Just let me figure it out. The dude bought me food for the rest of the trip because he's like, I respect that. Mm-hmm. I respect you trying to figure it out yourself. And it's like that. There are certain teachers that'll be like, no, you're an idiot. I'm calling your dad. It's just like, that's not the right move. Because then I despise you. And it's like, no, we had this thing going. Let's figure it out. Don't just abandon me and go, It's
perfect.
Yeah.
I love it. So, but that's what, and I know teachers don't have the time to identify the skill sets of every kid.
Right.
And then tailor education, but they should. If they didn't have all these derelicts in that they have to manage their behaviors, they could do more stuff.
Yeah. And then the teachers that would let you go, they'd let you go and I'd be more and more of an idiot. And then they draw the line and be like, dude, you can't do. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I'll wrangle it in. I'll be good. I'll behave. Thank you for just letting me get this far. So Krista says all kids need routine and structure. They lost that during shutdowns. I agree with Isaac that they should give the kid an opportunity to correct the behavior before issuing the detention. Yeah, because I feel like me as a kid, it was, I didn't know how to talk to adults. I didn't know how to talk to teachers. I felt like they didn't understand me. And I was very like, you guys don't know what it's like. And then you get older, you grow up and you're like, oh, you were the dumbass. Yeah. You guys were kids once too. And you were trying to figure it out just like I was. Like you were all kids once. And then once you're able to recognize that, and then you're able to recognize that in others, then you can relate to people even more of all ages, because you just got to get them to think, oh, what, or you say, oh, when they were a kid, they were like this, or they were like this. And then, I don't know, I found myself becoming more relatable.
Yeah. And the second part, as far as giving the opportunity to change the behaviors, that relationship is two ways. Like if you've got a kid that doesn't have a lot of grace for you and is not making it easy.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be kind to someone who offers 0 grains of kind back at you. If you've got an Isaac who's just a dumbass, but he's a nice kid and teachable,
yes,
then I agree with that. But I think we are way too soft and we give too many chances, and those behavior issue kids just walk all over your generosity.
But and the problem too is the teachers that are just doing the absolute bare minimum aren't good either.
For sure.
Like if you're doing the absolute bare minimum, it's like, no, this is how we do it in my class, A, B, C, and D, or else you're out. It's like, that is not, I don't like that.
Yeah, and that is true evidence that there has been no innovations in our education system. So when the Department of Education gets torn down by the Trump administration, do you think that's an opportunity to rebuild it in an innovation system? Or do you think it just suffers and collapses because we just don't have a handle on kids? Which would you do?
Say it one more time. Say it again.
Department of Education, the structure that didn't have a good product output.
Okay.
You destroy it and then build another one the way that kids are and education should be, or you destroy it and just let it be a free-for-all. Let local schools decide for themselves and have mini Department of Education.
If you did that, there would be such a separation between different schools. It's almost like the state level versus the national level. Like let them do their own thing and then learn from one another.
Exactly.
Different schools and adapt.
If that happened.
But what's going to happen is the ones that, if that happened, the ones that are very successful, all the other ones are going to be like, oh, they're wrong because of this, and they don't really know what it's like to be over here in this school district, and they're lucky to have. Like, I feel like if you did that, the communities that have the best home life will be the most successful, and the schools that have in the areas that have the worst home life for the kids will be the least successful. And I don't want that to happen either. I just want everybody to realize no matter what happens, the government is going to do a good job.
Yeah,
like
right, exactly.
That's my mindset. No matter what happens, it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with Trump. I have zero faith in the government to do anything correctly ever.
I'm with you. 100%,
like, it's not going to
be
that great.
All right, so this is a little. This might create a little controversy, but I think because school is free and you have to go, that the people that are there don't value it because it's not hard to get into. It's like, if you were to take and make school something that you had to earn and you had to qualify for, and it was hard to get into, the people that ended up there would be at a higher standard. And the people who don't value it at all, those are the people you find something else. So I don't think every kid should be forced into school against their will.
No, of course not. Like you said, the kids that are like yourself at learning by, like, kids like that are better in some type of like trade program. You know what I mean? Like technical school. It's exactly. Like, hey, put this in front of them. They figure it out. I was in school to hang out with my friends. I was in sports to hang out with my friends. That's what, to talk, to shoot the shit. That's why I was doing everything I was doing. I didn't care about grades. I got good grades because my parents forced me to get good grades. And I did the absolute bare minimum to get those good grades. And like, my thing was do the absolute least to get the absolute best grades. If I actually focused, who knows what would have happened, but then, money incentivizes me. So then it's like a kid like me, it's like, okay, if they would have restructured it to, like, once I got into the workforce, I took sports and the ability, like my ability to hustle if I wanted to, and then incentivize me to hustle. I can do that all day. I'll work as hard as I possibly can if there's an incentive there. But now, I felt like the incentive in schools was not there for me. So I was like, I don't care.
What if, like, you got education and you didn't know that we were being educated? Like, when you go to school, you know what their intention is to jam things into your brain.
Yeah.
But what if everything was education? Like, you're watching a football game.
Yeah.
And says, hey, it's 10 yards to get a first down, and he got 3. Do you know how many more yards he got?
That shit's stupid. Those questions where they're like, you have 2 Hershey bars. Isaac, you chubby little bastard. You have 2 Hershey bars. If you jump
6 miles
at this speed, how many Hershey bars will you get?
If you arrive in Chicago.
No. I'm thinking more of, and competition isn't always the answer, but with me it is. So if you would have said, Isaac, if you get all A's, you get to go here, or you get to do this, or you get this many points that you can use to do whatever. And they like incentivize me in some way so that I can.
You mean bribery? Is that
something like that? Incentivize me, and so that I could use those points to cash in on awesome markers and rub them in my friend's face. I would
do it.
Crush in school. Or, like, I don't know, incentivize me in a way. Like, it can't be dumb. Like, markers wouldn't work. I don't know. It has to be like, hey,
at that age, markers would have totally worked.
Right. But in high school, I don't know what you do, but incentivize me, and I would have tried way harder.
Okay.
Because, like, as a kid, everybody's, well, you were incentivized. You're going to go to college, and you're going to, no, I need you to dangle $20 in front of my face, and I'll do it.
There has been school districts that have financially rewarded good students, and
hell yeah, dude,
I get paid to go to school.
I'd be studying, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. But then it's like, okay, if there's a cap, I would go right up to the cap and be like, I'm not
studying anymore.
I'm not working any harder. Like, they would give us, if you got honor roll. So if you got A's and B's, once a semester, you got to go to the skate zone in Austintown. So I was getting honor roll, but that was it. Like, I was A's and B's. That's what I was. But it's like, I could have been all A's if I really tried. Why would I? Oh, Luke's on the phone.
See,
sorry, Luke, we weren't paying attention. We were deep in it.
This is the worst call-in show. I've literally been on hold for 30 minutes.
Good. I actually saw it. I just didn't pick up because it was you. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, you guys suck.
Yes, we know.
I mean, I don't even know what I called about. I was on hold.
Yeah, what'd you call about, caller? Listen, man.
Let's get to the point.
Listen, get to the point, please, caller. We're gonna have to hang up on you.
Okay. So, anyways, you guys were talking about like kids and raising kids and stuff like that. So,
Yes.
obviously, I have 3 boys.
Okay.
I have a wife that's a teacher. I think it is a twofold problem at this point with children.
Okay.
One, you have children that don't have a home life, don't have parents motivating them, don't have that push from your parents and the drive. And then problem number 2 is you have parents that are friends with their kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they baby them, they helicopter them. There's no fear of retribution from your parents when you misbehave. And it's a twofold problem. And like with my boys, I am nice to them. I do stuff with them. I think we are friends. However, they fear when they F up, if that makes sense. They know the wrath is coming. They know they're going to get in trouble. They know they're dead, right? And like with Isaac and I, now I'm 16 years older than Isaac.
Right.
Our dad was way harder on me and Leanna than he was with you and Patty. Way harder.
Okay.
And it was, I think he was way, but again, by the time he got to you guys, Leanna and I had like softened them up. You know what I mean?
He kept going too. He's mellowed out in his old age for sure.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, for Leanna and I, he was way tougher on us then.
Yeah.
And I bet he would even probably admit that.
Yeah.
And again, he was slowing down. He was getting older. He wasn't working as hard. But I mean, that is the problem with kids from both my perspective of having children in school and then also from hearing from my wife. It's lack of discipline or not enough discipline. It's got to be like a fine line. I don't know what the line is. But.
Right. Would you argue that, like my argument to that would be there, like you said, there's that fine line. With Dad, it was almost too much in the disciplinary direction because there are times where something would come up and I don't even want to talk to him because I know he's going to just absolutely scream at me. So
100%.
With my kids in the future, if I ever have them, I want it to be, listen, you can talk to me about anything and I'm going to try and point you in the right direction. And I want my kids to trust me. But at the same time, I want them to listen to me and be good members of society. So it's like there's that dance, but Dad was too much in the disciplinary direction where I felt like he's not relating to me as a person and I can't trust him.
100%.
Like I know he was a safety net, and if anything bad were to ever happen to me, he would come to the rescue. But he would bitch and complain the entire time, and I don't want to deal with the bitching and the complaining, so I'm not even going to go to him, and I'm going to try and figure it out myself first.
100%.
And then you have the catastrophe that is Patty, where our sister, where she knew, I'll just go to mom will fix it. We won't talk to Dad, and we'll go behind his back. And that's why Patty.
So many times it went down. I did the same thing. Go to mom and dad because if you don't want to deal with that,
right? But then as I got older,
don't get me wrong though. Pop was always there for us. He was always 100% backing us.
Always.
You know what I'm saying? It's like he's not a bad dad. It was just extreme discipline and almost like mental punishment if you F up.
Right. So like you wreck a car. You flipped a car on the highway. Dad shows up and you're outside the car and you're okay, but he's like, what did you do? You weren't paying attention. It's like, thanks, Dad. You're happy I'm alive, right? No, let's just punish him. Like, Dad, hey, just flip my car. kind of went through a traumatic situation. I kind of just want some consoling right now, and I want you to tell me that you're happy I'm alive, but instead it's Isaac, you're an idiot. I know you tried to dodge that pothole, and now you're flipped over on 680, and what about this is going to, like Tiger King, this is going to financially destroy me. It's like, Dad, maybe I would appreciate you giving me a hug and being thankful that I'm alive.
Right.
Yeah, that was too much discipline. Too much discipline.
Exactly.
So then as a kid, you're sitting on the side of the highway negotiating with the police. Hey, don't tell my dad I flipped my car. Please just take me home and I'll figure it out later.
Right.
So,
yeah. Like with my kids, it's like they mess up. I try not to initially flip out. Right. Like that. Like I have to think about it. So like they do something wrong in school. I try not to initially flip the F out. Right. Where it's like Cameron got in trouble a week ago. He comes home. He knows he's in trouble. I know he's afraid. I know he's terrified. I don't flip out. We talk about it, and then I ground him, and he's like, "Okay, fine." You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the approach I'm trying to take with that. Versus, what the F is wrong?
Yes,
you're still going to be like
the lack of empathy. Because it's almost not like dad is a great father, but the lack of empathy in terms of his dad, and he would always say it, he would rub it in her face. My dad was so much harder on me than I am with you, and you need to understand that. And like as an adult, I got to the point with my dad where I'm like, listen, Dad, I know your dad was hard on you, but you need to be more loving and empathetic. Because I'm not, and I've told him at our lunches, like, I'm not going to be like this with our kids, because at some point you need to say, I love you to your children, and I love you back, and I'm here for you, and I'm empathetic, because if not, it's like that comes first, because if not, then you're going to scare your kids away from you.
Right.
Now, if you guys got arrested, your dad the type that would leave you.
This has been a good psychological talk for the Schuster brothers today with our father.
Yeah.
I know we should call him in here. Should rake him over the coals with him sitting here so I can talk to him. But I've talked to him about this. We have lunch once a week on Wednesdays, and as a father, it's like you go, Luke. You get out of here. That was a terrible caller, by the way. Hang up on him, Joe. Hang up on him. Ban him forever. You're never allowed to call back again.
So my question was, would your dad, if you got arrested and you went to jail, would he bail you out, or would he make you stay until Monday till the judge arrived?
He would bail you out. He would bail me out, but that drive home would be just horrible.
All right.
They're like, what did you do? You totally tried to fight the cop, didn't you, Dad? No, I didn't try to fight. I know you did. I know you were your smart mouth, Isaac. That's always and this is why I'm such a smart ass, because I would constantly with my dad, I would be such a smart ass to the point where he was about to freaking smack me, and then I just reel it back in, and then I'd go all the way to the line, and then I'd reel it back in. That's why I am the way I am, man. I feel like it's pretty clear when a woman has daddy issues. What would you guys say if it looks like if a man has issues with his dad? You have me and Luke. Authority issues. Doesn't like being told what to do. I don't know, but it's as far as like people in society goes, like I'm not sitting here. My dad was a wonderful dad. But every kid is going to critique their parents. You know what I mean? Like in terms of trauma, I have no trauma. I did like great dad, great mom. I am blessed and privileged to have the home life that I had, because my mom and dad, I know they loved me. They took care of me. I lived in a great house with parents that both had rock star jobs, great incomes, like very privileged to have everything I have or had.
I just have this feeling if you had a studio audience in front of you and you told your story, the audience would be like, "Oh, yeah." But if your dad was here, the same audience would be like, "Oh, right, those freaking kids drove you insane, didn't they?"
And then my mom does the classic Midwestern mom thing where it's like, "Well, you just had an awful life, didn't you, Isaac? You just had it so bad. I'm a terrible mother. Me and your dad are awful in how we raised you. And you just turned out so bad, didn't you?" That's my mom. That's Pam. As a parent, Gen X parent here, it's taken a while to learn to respond, not react. My mom, God love her, was a huge react first parent. Yeah, that was definitely my dad. Mom was the one who would show up and be like, oh, thank God you're alive. You know, you did A, B, C, and D. Thank God you're alive, but you're so much trouble. It's like, okay, cool.
Just we got that first part out
of the way. Don't tell dad. Just don't tell dad. Lynn said he would have rather sit in jail. Yeah, I would. No, it's in a situation like that where I didn't feel like if I was in jail, thank God I never ended up in jail. But in a situation like that, it's like, okay, I'll deal with my dad yelling at me. I just need to get out of here. I just want to be home, you know, and my dad would understand that. So because then when you're willing to negotiate with Fred, it's like, listen, man, just come get me. And if I'm like that and my dad's hostile and I'm like, he knows it's the real deal. He knows I'm in trouble when I'm like, dude, just please. And then, because I never asked for it. Isaac Kelly says, Isaac, your feelings are valid. Krista says, my parents, East Siders, tell us they should have never moved to Poland and kept us kids on the East Side to teach us a lesson. How do you feel about that, Joe?
Man, that's rough. You take somebody who can't handle an East Side upbringing,
yeah,
and it'll ruin you. Like,
right,
you're done.
Right.
I mean, some people rise to the occasion and get tougher in spite of it. But
yeah, Krista, what my parents did, I went to South Range, went to a good school. What my parents did for us as kids that I strongly agree with is they took us all around the world with them. Like I said, they both had very good jobs, so I was blessed enough to have this as an upbringing. But they would go on like medical mission trips to Mexico, to bad parts of Mexico, like not bad in terms of crime. I mean, like extremely poor, like dirt huts, poor. San Quintin, Mexico. It's on like the Baja Peninsula down in Mexico, where they have absolutely nothing. And you're driving down there past the cops, the Mexican cops that have like these souped up sweet ass cars. So you get a up close and personal, like, America is great because there is corruption within our government, but like the corruption where people are living in dirt huts and the police are driving around in souped up Dodge Chargers, like that's messed up. Like that's not right. And then you see these people and these kids that have absolutely nothing. And I'm a kid in high school, and I think 6th grade, I went down there once too. You see these kids that have absolutely nothing, and I'm playing soccer, and my mom's helping all these people. She would bring doctors down because she was a nursing professor from YSU. So she would bring doctors down with her and take care of these people. And you get to see these people living in these horrendous situations. And you're like, oh my God, that is so eye-opening. It's more eye-opening than the stinking East Side because it is nothing. Like they have nothing. And they were happy. That's the other crazy thing. They were so happy. They were like, these kids were just happy to be playing soccer with their friends. I don't know. It was an eye-opening experience. And I think a lot more people need to, especially Poland people and Canfield people and people that have money, need to travel more. And the people that critique the United States to no end and say, hey, we need to be more socialist and go to socialist countries.
Yeah.
Don't want
to do that.
Go to these different, like I've been to Russia. I've been to St. Petersburg, and like, we were on a cruise and we went to St. Petersburg. We did a cruise to the North Sea. Why are they driving us in on the ship at night so that we can't see anything going on in St. Petersburg? Like, why is that? It's just, it's weird. It's the only destination in Northern Europe that we went to where they made us go in at night so that we couldn't so we couldn't see what was going on in the towns. That's sketchy. Yeah. It's very sketchy. Go to Venezuela. Exactly. It's the wealthy people, the wealthy people, you have the ability to travel. So travel and see what it's like, the nitty gritty in other countries is like, and then make your decisions on why we need to protect everything that we have here.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So
one question about the draft. I know we didn't talk about anything about sports.
Okay.
The NFL draft.
Yeah.
Did you see the prank call that Shedeur Sanders got? Did you hear that story?
Yes.
Okay.
It's awesome.
I thought of you the minute that it happened.
Why?
Because it's something that Isaac would do in a heartbeat. If you got peaks on someone's phone number, you're like, I'm gonna F with him. I'm gonna get him.
The poor kid, man. The poor kid gets a call. Yeah, this is so and so from the Saints. We're about to take you. And then imagine like my buddy Rob Mish, shout out. He works at Tangiers, bartender at Tangiers. If you want to drink, go to Tangiers and visit Rob. He said, like Shedeur Sanders, you might be having a bad day, but you're not having as bad of a day as Shedeur Sanders, who had his own party, like 2-day party, to be drafted first, and he didn't get drafted. You threw a party because you thought, I'm gonna get drafted. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna get drafted first round, and nothing happened.
He built a celebration room, like, and stocked it with legendary on all of the walls.
That is something. That is a kick in the teeth.
Yeah,
I think it's a healthy kick in the teeth. And because with athletes, if you think you're good and you're told you're not good enough, that's good. I think that's good for athletes, because then it's like, listen, you're going to go to the NFL. You're not as good as you think you are, but you're going to be in the NFL. And if you want to be the best, you're going to have to work your ass off. For athletes, that's a good, challenging thing. And it makes you, it's like, I'm going to prove all these freaking people wrong. Everybody. I'm going to prove them all wrong. And I've been able to translate that to my work.
Do you think his ego will allow him to learn from that experience, though?
I don't know. That's the thing. When it comes to being a professional athlete, like, you got to get your ego in check, or use your ego to get, like, Michael Jordan had the freaking ego of, people have said he's not a good person, but he's a freaking hooper. Like, he was able to use his ego and to force himself to work his ass off to be the absolute best, because he talked the talk and walked the walk. I'm the freaking best. I'm going to wake up at 4 a.m. and do my workouts when everybody's still sleeping, because I'm better than you. It's like, well, you're waking up at 4 a.m. Obviously, you're better than me. So he was able to walk the walk.
Cash those checks.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And his mom was able to negotiate for him. His parents were able to negotiate with him. They negotiated that contract with Nike for Air Jordan. And that deserves some respect, because that was something that nobody was ever able to do. And his mom and dad negotiated with Nike, and he made Nike what it is today.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan.
I agree.
Yeah, it's crazy. Brian McCaddy says Sanders was served a giant piece of humble pie. Lynn says now he will be Cleveland Brown bad. Yeah, that's tough, man. That is, the Browns, talk about bad management. The Browns management is god awful. And the ownership is god awful. And hopefully with Shedeur, he has his dad who lived it as a professional athlete. So maybe he will be able to get with his dad, and his dad will set him up in a training regimen that will make him undeniably good.
Yeah. And if you look through, and I know that dude's got an ego just as big as his son's, but I studied a lot of his biography, and his wisdom and quotes, he has it in him. If he wanted to be a good influence over this kid, if it's effective, Shedeur's going to be a good player.
Right.
If not, he's going to be a dumpster fire.
Right. And did you watch any of the videos over the weekend? I found them so interesting. They were basically past draft days, where fan bases or fans were saying, that's a dumb pick. That's the stupidest pick I've ever seen in my life. And it was basically teaching the lesson that we as fans have no idea what's going to happen. And like, it was fans yelling at or freaking out on camera at their organization. And they just made an amazing pick. But
you would know that
because they
were picked up Peyton Manning.
Yeah. It was
you gonna do?
Patrick Mahomes. This is why Kansas City will never win a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes. It's like, you were so wrong, dude. You were so wrong. So it's like, part of me wants to be like, that's terrible, and it was a terrible pick, and the Browns suck. I think it's more of I think we have more of a management issue than we do players. Obviously, any management can make any team good, and like, freaking Tom Brady came off the bench and he turned into what he is. Mm-hmm. So it's like, he wasn't a first round draft pick, I don't think. Like, it's not about, we don't know anything as fans. We truly know you guys can, the 330 Sports Show, Justin can analyze everything and think they're doing this. They need to do this better. They need to do it. And he's probably right. But at the end of the day, we truly do know nothing. We don't have the analysts, the money that these businesses, that these teams have. And we know nothing. We truly know nothing. So, Brian says, Karma slapped the family in the face. Dion outright saying my son won't play in Cleveland, and then to have his son actually get drafted by the Browns was amazing. That was awesome.
Maybe they were just trolling Dion. Like maybe they did that on purpose, picked him up in that round just to troll him.
Browns don't need another Johnny Manziel. Did you, Krista and Joe, did you guys watch the documentary about Johnny Manziel? Yeah. That was interesting. Mm-hmm. Dude did not want, he was just like, I just want to party. I don't want to play. Mm-hmm. I just want to party. And it's like, if he would have changed his mindset, he would have probably been amazing because he was so amazing. He was such a good athlete. But dude was able to ball out in college and do the absolute bare minimum and just party. That is a God-given athlete.
Yep.
And it's like, oh my, and everybody's just like, oh my God, if I had that talent,
squandered
with my work ethic, I would be amazing. And he's like, I didn't want it. I didn't want to do that.
Spoiled rich kid. That's all it was.
Gnarly. But Joe, you ready to wrap this thing up?
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody so much for watching. We appreciate you bearing with us here. I felt a little lost today without my big brother. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I hate giving him that credit, but he does good. Me and him bounce ideas off of each other. And Joe, it's not that you're not perfect, and I love you very much, but I'm excited to see what happens on Friday now that Luke comes in here and tells us we did an awful job. And
he'll berate us.
Oh, 100%.
You did well though. You carried really well.
I appreciate it, Joe. I really do. I can do better. I'm too critical of myself. But thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate you. Thanks for calling in. 17. Thanks for being in the comments. We will see you on Friday, right? Friday morning. Do we have a guest?
I don't
know either. We'll have to talk to Luke. Because he just schedules guests without telling us. But Friday, we'll see you in here. The gang will all be here. Remember, the MLO Bros stands for Mortgage Loan Originator Bros. We are loan officers. We are real estate agents. If you are buying a house, if you're selling a house, if you need financing, give us a call. We will happily take care of you. My number is 330-921-8978. Give me a call. I'll help you. Luke, if you want to talk to Luke and have him help you, we can do that as well. Youngstown Studio. Come check out Youngstown Studio in beautiful downtown Youngstown. If you want to start a podcast, you can call Joe. He'll help you get hooked up, and you can talk about whatever your topic for podcast wants to be. He'll get you set up, and all of your business. Are there any? Why you got the mic? Do you want to shout out your businesses?
You do a good job of it.
Youngstown Computer, Youngstown Marketing. BJ will hook you up with Youngstown Marketing and snip together some videos for you. He's a rock star back there with his fedora. Thank you all so much for watching. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time. See you.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook.